broadcasting live from California. Get ready for an hour of pure, unapologetic conservative talk radio. This is The Wise Conservative Show. Good afternoon and welcome to The Wise Conservative Show. It's great to be back for another week. Now, we all know that there are so many liberals right now who are claiming all of these things about how Russia colluded with Trump and they hacked the election and we need to stand up to Trump during his inauguration. I covered a story over how Michael Moore was leading the charge to protest against Trump a couple weeks back. Well, just a few days ago, Michael Moore went on an interview, or did an interview on MSNBC, the most unbiased news network there is. Now, I have parts of that. It is a 4-minute long clip. I'm going to be interrupting it and talking about it in the middle of this, because this is honestly ridiculous, the things that he says in this interview. So take a listen.
If tonight, if Donald Trump was ahead by 3 million votes, but Hillary was going to get the Electoral College on Monday, what do you think the Trump people and the Republicans would be doing?
The world will look very different, I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't mean that they would react violently. Right. I just mean they would...
Lawsuits.
Everything. They would throw everything at this. And what is our side
There would have
doing?
been no concession yet.
No, there would be no concession. But, again, the Clinton campaign, everybody's trying to, President Obama wants to be the nice guy. Right. Everybody's, and it's like, this is not the time.
Okay, everyone's trying to be the nice guy here. I mean, I have to stop it there because... what has the left done that's actually nice in this election? They still haven't allowed Trump to fully operate as he should as the president-elect. They're still not even accepting the outcome of this election. They're constantly calling Trump supporters different vulgar names. Bill Clinton just again called all Trump supporters white racists. So they are not taking the high road here like Michael Moore is trying to claim.
This is serious stuff that's ahead of us here.
This story in Maine, goes with this as well. Governor LePage, they passed a minimum wage referendum that increased the minimum wage for tipped workers against the opposition of the sitting governor, Paul LePage. He announced today that he isn't going to instruct his Department of Labor not to enforce the law.
Right.
And this is just, and it does seem to me almost that this seems to me like edging into democratic crisis in a very profound way.
Absolutely. No, our democracy here.
But then but can you fight to restore democracy?
Okay, our democracy is at risk. First off, we don't even have a democracy. I'm sure all of you already know that. We're a constitutional republic. We do not have a democracy here, and that's why the Electoral College even exists. But secondly, this person vetoed a law, and that's what they're freaking out about. President Obama has vetoed everything that Republicans have passed through Congress. So now they're trying to sit here and saying that because a Republican did it, that it's wrong. Because a Republican vetoed something, suddenly that's undermining our democracy. They can't have it both ways. And that's what they think they can have. They're hypocrites. They praise it when Obama vetoes everything that Republicans put on his desk. But the second a Republican vetoes any law that Democrats support, it's undermining our democracy, it's undermining the people's will. It's so hypocritical, and it's sad that they even are allowed to continue to say all of these things. It's sad that they're continuing these arguments when it's obvious that they are being hypocrites on it.
The question becomes is do you fight fire with fire? Does that just restore democracy, or do you further degrade it if you do that?
No, you have to fight fire with fire. You absolutely have to. You can stay on the high road and fight at the same time. Unfortunately, the Democrats, our side, my side, they're usually, whoa, wait a minute, that's not right. And then everybody goes into their depressive voice of, wait a minute. It's like, no, come on, people. Come on. To go with the same old when we need new thinking, fresh blood, and a fight in us. A fight. And this is There's so many things that should be discussed right now. Here's something that's not even being discussed. The fact that the CIA has told us that they hacked both the DNC and the RNC, but only released the DNC, didn't release the RNC. One of the things that nobody's talking about is, well, clearly they have the goods on something or somebody there. Why do you want to risk a president in the White House that could be blackmailed by whatever they discovered at the RNC?
I will note the Wall Street Journal has reporting today to suggest that perhaps they didn't get into the. It's not clear. There's some reporting today in the Wall Street Journal suggests perhaps they didn't get into the RNC because of security measures. That said, it also strikes me that
to believe that, though, we have to believe that the Republicans, the grand old party, is so up on their technology that they had firewalls in there.
But there's also
Democrats of Silicon.
Okay, so now he's trying to say that the Republicans are the ones that are so unsecure, that we're the ones that we're the reason why any servers were ever hacked. Seriously? Hillary Clinton is the one that had multiple unsecured servers in a closet in a bathroom. She's the one that put national security at risk. The DNC obviously was unsecure. They were easily hacked. How is it the Republicans that are the unsecure ones here? How can they even claim that and then laugh about it? I mean, they're in their own reality. That's what it is. These liberals are in their own reality, and they don't understand that they are the ones in the wrong here, that they are the ones being hacked by all of these different sources, which they're blaming on Russia. It's astounding that they're still continuing these notions time after time after time, and they have no evidence to back up any of these claims.
And Valley didn't.
There's also a broader question about the implications more broadly about this entire thing. I mean, once people start pulling on the threads of where this investigation goes and what else happens to the possession of whoever pulled this off, which appears to be the Russian state actors.
Listen, we are hours away now from the Electoral College coming together on Monday. This needs protest. This needs people's voices. You can go to Vigils for America. I think it's .org. And they have the list of all the state protests at the state capitals this weekend and on Monday. People need to have their voice heard. Don't say to yourself, well, what's the use? Nothing's going to happen. You don't know that. You don't know that. That's why we have to keep fighting. We have to fight all the way to Inauguration Day and then be ready for them to start the day after the inauguration, passing law after law after law.
And you think protesting on Inauguration Day and
protesting, obstructing, disrupting, civil disobedience. I mean, the man has no right to enter that house. There are too many questions about whatever collusion was going on. I mean, they admitted that they were in touch with the Russians during the campaign. They have said that. So,
okay, first, no, they have not said that they were colluding with the Russians. That's just another lie that the left has come up with. Secondly, there is no question about whether Donald Trump is fit to be president. And that was proven when the Electoral College voted for Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton had more unfaithful electors than Donald Trump did. Donald Trump is obviously fit to be president of the United States, and the people of America seem to think so. Why won't the left get their minds around that fact? Why won't they finally realize that Donald Trump can and is going to be our president on January 20th? And he's acting like the fact that Donald Trump is going to pass laws once he's president is a bad thing, and that he's going to finally work together with Congress to pass laws, like that's a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Our government hasn't done anything besides executive orders for the past 8 years. For the past 8 years, Obama has either vetoed every bill that comes out of Congress or just passed executive orders to go around Congress. It'll be nice to finally have a government that works together to get things done. It'll be nice to finally have a president that is taking the will of the American people into account with everything that he does. And then furthermore, telling everyone to protest. You don't know what's going to happen, he says. You don't know that it won't have any effect. Well, yeah, we do. We know it won't have an effect. Throwing little pity parties over the fact that Donald Trump won an election is not going to change that fact. It's not going to change the fact that Donald Trump is going to be the 45th president of the United States. But they can continue to throw their little pity parties. These snowflakes seem to enjoy it. There was another snowflake in Wisconsin. After the electors announced that all of them were voting for Donald Trump, she kind of threw a fit. So I have the audio of that for you guys right now.
The votes are 10 votes, Donald J. Trump.
You stole our You're pathetic. You don't deserve to be in America. Shame. You refuse to support him. This is my America. This is my America. My America. Take me out if you must. This is my America. You sold us out. Listen to your heart. Listen to the facts. Listen to all of it. Can I take my things with me? Oh, take me out. I don't care.
Should I just wait for
You just
you tell me when I'll just I don't think it's good.
All right, notice what she was actually saying here, folks. This is my America. This is my America. You don't deserve to be here. Meanwhile, her friends are chanting shame in the background. They're so selfish. These snowflakes are. They're so selfish. They think that the entire world revolves around them, and because they didn't get what they want, that all of us are evil somehow. This is my America. No, it is the people's America. It is not just your single America. No. There's a reason why Donald Trump was elected president, and it's because of people like this. It's because of these people who are so out of touch with reality that they think that screaming and insulting Trump supporters is going to change the result of the election or is going to make everything better. These people need to grow up. It is the truth that Donald Trump was elected president. And in flying numbers. This was not even a close election. The Democrats need to stop blaming everything on Russia, blaming everything on racist white folks. They need to finally come to reality that they had a horrible candidate, that they didn't campaign in the right states, that they literally made every mistake possible in this past election. They put up an establishment candidate who had been proven to have to use corruption within the Clinton Foundation, to have an unsecured server. There were so many faults, so many scandals, and now they're surprised that she lost? It's kind of remarkable that they're able to still be surprised after they put up Hillary Clinton as their nominee. I mean, she was almost beaten in the primaries by an old socialist. She was almost beaten when the DNC was already working with her for her to win the primaries. She was obviously a horrible candidate. Hillary Clinton is the reason why they lost this election. These snowflakes are the reason why they lost this election. It's not because of Russia. Like now, and it really annoys me when all of them are saying that, oh, we have proof that Russia hacked our voting machines. And the CIA and the FBI both said that they believe it. But they also said in those reports that they have no proof of it. Because there is no proof that Russia actually hacked into our election. And you know why there isn't proof, folks? Because they didn't hack into our election. No, this was the American people sending a message. And Donald Trump did a very good job at campaigning in certain key states, campaigning with the right message. He didn't campaign for the popular vote because he knew that that wasn't what he needed to win. Republicans aren't going to win the popular vote, possibly ever again, because of the huge liberal cities that have these humongous populations. And so if we didn't have the Electoral College, it would just be Democrats here on to the future for infinity. Because of these big, huge liberal cities. And Donald Trump knew that he wasn't going to win the popular vote. He knew that he had to campaign in these states that hold more sway with the Electoral College. And he did that, and he won. The left needs to get over that. They need to get over the fact that they actually lost. They need to get over the fact that people are tired of them whining about every single thing. And furthermore, they need to stop coming up with these fake crimes that they all said that were happening right after the election. It's coming out now that there were multiple incidences of people coming up with hate crimes just to make Trump's America look like a bad thing. A Muslim teenager from Long Island told authorities that she was harassed on the subway by men who yelled Donald Trump while trying to wear her hijab, or remove her hijab. And within 2 weeks, the police proved that she was coming up with the whole thing, and then she admitted that she was lying because she broke her curfew. Furthermore, immediately after the election, a Muslim woman in Louisiana claimed that she was attacked and had her hijab ripped off. Well, not long after that, in a statement, the Lafayette Police Department said that while investigating the incident, the woman admitted that she fabricated the whole story about her physical attack, as well as the removal of her hijab and the stealing of her wallet by 2 white men. There was a hateful note on a whiteboard at Elon University in North Carolina that read, "Bye bye Latinos, hasta la vista." Well, this was supposed to be a huge issue because now people are discriminating against Latinos. Yeah, a Latino student wrote that right after the election to try to make a message about Trump's America. Hateful notes allegedly sent to a North Park University student in Chicago were fabricated, according to the school's president. The student said on November 14th she had received messages taped to her door containing harassing language and mentions of Trump. But when investigating the matter, they found no evidence of those messages ever even being written or received. And in a widely shared Facebook post, the University of Minnesota student Kathy Mara, too, she alleged that she was approached by white men and told to go back to Asia. When the university's police investigated this, they also found no evidence of such matters. So the left came up with all of these different incidents where in Trump's America it was racist and sexist. And all of these incidents are fake. It just shows that they're not above lying to the American people to try and get their message across. I mean, their candidate lied enough. Why shouldn't they? These people are so caught up in their own reality that they will use such deception to try and trick Americans into being angry at Donald Trump. Luckily, it's not working. But these tactics are so low. I mean, I thought even Democrats were above using that tactic. Making up crimes time after time to try and scare people into hating Donald Trump, that's just disgusting that anyone would ever do that. These people these snowflakes are just coming up with lies after lie, and it's all because they can't accept the fact that they lost an election. All right, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wise Conservative Show.
And that, class, is why America is the worst country in the history of the world.
Are you sick of your professors telling you lies?
Now remember, children, if you're white, it means you're privileged. Don't ever forget that.
Do you sit through class convinced that your head is going to explode at any given moment? Sounds like you could use some backup. Visit youthrevolt.org for exclusive content produced by young conservatives for young conservatives. Youth Revolt features a dedicated team of radio hosts, political columnists, and video bloggers, all of whom are 100% committed to taking back the future of this country. So what are you waiting for? Tune out your Marxist professor and visit youthrevolt.org now.
8 years with Obama, and now no one knows what bathroom to use.
The Wise Conservative Show, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Only on Youth Revolt.
Tune in to Millennials Rising, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday nights, for a conservative outlook on pop culture and American politics. Together we can reinstitute values back into our nation's young people and help create an alternative path away from the mainstream liberal agenda. Tune in to Millennials Rising, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday nights, only on Youth Revolt. The idea behind Youth Revolt is to let them, these liberal professors, let them know that we are here and we're ready to fight.
Youth Revolt. Speak without fear.
Hey, little boy, you want some free college? Bernie Sanders, that creepy uncle your mom warned you about. The Wise Conservative Show. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Only on Youth Revolt.
Welcome back to the Wise Conservative Show. I'm your host, Connor Wise. So, sadly, more terrorist attacks took place in this past week. Of course, the assassination of the ambassador to Turkey from Russia. That assassination took place. And on the same day, in Berlin, a large semi-truck ran into a Christmas market. Well, a report is now coming out that the German police actually knew that this suspect would eventually strike. The fugitive suspected of driving a truck into a crowded Berlin Christmas market on Monday. Well, he was on the radar of German authorities as far back as June. And all the way back in June, they tried but failed to deport him after learning that he was plotting a, quote, serious act of violent subversion. Further, the security agencies exchanged info as recently as November that allegedly tied Anis Amri, this suspect, to Islamic militants. Yet the Tunisian-born 24-year-old was able to evade terror investigators in the lead up to this attack on Monday, which, by the way, has been claimed by ISIS. This attack killed 12 people and wounded 48. Berlin prosecutors told the Associated Press on Wednesday that they first launched an investigation against Amri on March 14th after getting a tip from federal security agencies. The tip warned that Amri might be planning a break-in to finance the purchase of automatic weapons for use in an attack. Surveillance showed that Amri was involved in drug dealing in Berlin and involved in a bar brawl, but there was no evidence to substantiate the original warning, and so the observation was called off in September. German police said that his wallet and identification papers were found in the cab of the truck, even though they waited till Wednesday to say that he was the suspect. And it is believed that he had some help in this attack. They're yet to recover a gun that they say was used in the attacks, and they believe that he used this gun to shoot a Polish truck driver to death before using his vehicle in the attack. So he obviously has links to radical Islam, as ISIS did actually claim responsibility for this attack. But guess what he was, just like all of these other attacks? He was, of course, an asylum seeker. All of these attacks that have taken place have been by refugees. And yet the left still wonders why we want to halt that process until we can further vet them. He arrived in July of 2015 as a refugee. And he was, of course, classified as a potential threat. But that didn't stop him from actually carrying out this terror attack. And we have seen this in just about all of the attacks, actually. They have all been put on a watch list at some sort or some time. They've all been looked into by the police at some point. But then they still actually initiate these attacks and go through with them. He was a follower of the recently arrested Abdul Wala, who was an Iraqi citizen and a preacher, who was believed to be one of the top ISIS leaders in Germany. It is reported that Omri had stayed with another suspected radical Islamist in Germany and had recently sought to obtain weapons. The German officials were actually monitoring his communications at this point. However, prior to arriving in Germany as a refugee, he spent 4 years in an Italian prison for burning a school. Citing a Tunisia radio interview with his father and security sources that actually revealed this. Omri was also reportedly convicted for aggravated theft with violence and sentenced to 5 years in prison. And this is before he came to Germany as a refugee. So he spent 9 years in prison before coming as an asylum seeker, before being one of those innocent refugees that the left loves. ISIS claimed a soldier of the Islamic State carried out the attack in response to calls for targeting citizens of the Crusader Coalition. The attack, which mirrored Nice, in which a truck was used to run into many people, it actually follows guides that ISIS has put out online for using vehicles in terror attacks. And, of course, Trump, when he saw this attack, he tweeted out talking about how we are going to stop ISIS when he's president. And, well, the left didn't like that, apparently, and CNN definitely didn't like it. The mainstream media didn't like it. But I couldn't have said this any better myself. My previous co-host, Dakota Wise, he gave a few comments on this, so I'm going to play those comments for you guys right now. Take a listen.
So the mainstream media has been attacking Donald Trump over his response to the terror attacks in Germany and Turkey. Donald Trump was very forthcoming in his response, stating that it was an act of terrorism, and under his administration, such acts would not be allowed to continue. This sounds good, right? Unless you're a member of the snowflake community or the mainstream media, at which point they've been saying there is no evidence to indicate that this was a terror attack, despite the fact that ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack. Now, the mainstream media doesn't seem to understand that this is the very reason Donald Trump won the election. The American people are sick of tired of sitting back and doing nothing as genocide happens in the Middle East and as attacks continue to escalate around the world. Maybe it's about time we have a president who's willing to call the enemy what it is: radical jihadism. The thing about the mainstream media at this point is that their reputation has been ruined by this election. Nobody regards the mainstream media as a reputable source of news at this point, because over the last year and a half, we've seen just how biased towards one political side they have become. So if the mainstream media hopes to help rekindle their credibility amongst the general population, they're going to need to stop pulling stunts like this in the future. There's nothing wrong with the president-elect calling out ISIS after ISIS has already taken responsibility for a terror attack. Now let's just use some common sense, which is something the mainstream media and the entire progressive movement seems to lack in general. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
All right, so that was Dakota Wise, as I said earlier. And honestly, he's hit it right on the head right there. This attack was obviously ISIS, and Donald Trump called out ISIS for it. And that's the kind of president that we need as Americans. We have the people who say, oh, it's not our battle to be fought. Well, we shouldn't go into the Middle East to fight ISIS. Well, you know what? ISIS is in more than just the Middle East at this point. They are within 32 countries around the world. We have seen attacks in all of our allied nations. We have seen attacks in our own nation. This is no longer an attack in a separate country, but rather an attack on our own homeland. If we do not take the fight to ISIS, then civilized world as we know it could come to an end, because these attacks are just getting more frequent and more deadly. President Obama referred to ISIS as a JV team back right after their creation. And so he didn't take them as a real threat. And he has allowed them to thrive within the Middle East over the past few years. He has allowed them to create a booming economy. They collect taxes from people, for God's sake. ISIS is thriving. ISIS is terrorizing many different countries, including our allies, and it's about time that we actually do something about it. So the fact that the mainstream media is actually attacking Donald Trump for saying that he's going to do something about ISIS, it really shows you the whole message of the progressive movement. It really shows you how out of touch with reality the progressive movement is. They are just in their own little world where everything is unicorns and butterflies. They don't seem to realize that ISIS has attacked Berlin. They have attacked Belgium. They have attacked France. They have attacked San Bernardino, Miami. Time after time, ISIS is attacking us and our allies. Time after time, ISIS is murdering people within the Middle East just because they're Christian. This is something that we have to take care of. This is something that must be taken care of sooner rather than later. We've already waited way too long to deal with this issue. We've waited way too long to deal with this terror organization that is plaguing not only the Middle East, but the entire world. It would not be hard to get together a coalition of our allies to fight this terror group. Maybe we actually work together with Russia for once to take out this terror organization. And we should actually call them for what they are. We actually need to name the enemy before we can fight the enemy. For some reason, the left is afraid to name the enemy. The enemy is radical Islamic jihadism. It's not that hard to say. They are the ones who are killing Christians just because of their beliefs. They're the ones who are attacking our allies and ourselves because that's what the Quran told them to do. These radicalists within Islam are plaguing so many different countries, and we're doing nothing. We have the strongest military in the world. We are expected to lead the fight against these issues. And I know it didn't used to be like that. America didn't used to be the police of the world. Am I okay with it? You know what? Not really. I don't think we should be the police of the world, but the fact of the matter is, we are. And so we have to take that role. We have to take that role and actually apply it and actually use it to fight our enemies. Instead of trying to reignite the Cold War with Russia, we should be working with them to take out our enemies. But, I mean, that's just a plan that us racist, dumb conservatives come up with. Working with someone to take out our enemies. Who would ever dare go to war with a terrorist organization? The left would rather take them in as refugees than go in there and kill them. They would rather harbor them within America in sanctuary cities than actually bring the fight to them. And that is sad. And these sanctuary cities, they are just getting more and more out of hand. Of course, now they're about to have a showdown with the Trump administration in January because they're saying that they're not going to deport people. And we all know that deportation, the border, immigration, and terrorism are directly linked. Because if we don't have a secure border, anyone can walk over, including terrorists. It's not hard. I mean, we have people being deported 8 times and they just walk right back over the border and they go to some sanctuary city this time. Or the liberals who want to bring in 550% of our current refugees. These refugees who in places like Germany or Belgium or France are committing massacres, basically. The Paris shooters were refugees. The Belgian bombings were done by refugees. The driver of the Nice attack was a refugee. The driver of this Berlin attack was a refugee. The list goes on and on. So issues such as immigration, illegal immigration, and refugee programs are directly linked to our national security. And it's no wonder why the left then doesn't want to secure it. They don't want to secure our border. They don't want to halt these programs because for some reason, in their own little reality, terrorism doesn't exist. In their own reality, if anything happens in America, it's not terrorism, but it's workplace violence, or it's because we don't have strict enough gun laws. And they refuse to accept the fact that our country is under attack. And we are under attack from not only terrorists, but also illegal immigrants. I mean, the waves of illegal immigrants coming to our country and just living in these sanctuary cities is unbelievable. And these sanctuary cities do nothing because they want to be safe for everyone. And even in LA now, Eric Garcetti, the mayor of LA, announced the creation of the LA Justice Fund, which is to provide legal assistance to immigrants facing deportation. He's calling it so that it will save those who are here just trying to make their life better. These people came here illegally. These people could possibly be murderers and rapists. We've seen many illegal immigrants doing such acts. And now he wants to send taxpayer dollars to help these illegals get out of deportation. What these cities aren't realizing is that the federal government trumps state governments. That's the law. It was decided in the Supreme Court a long time ago. It is the precedent that we rule on. And so I definitely hope that Donald Trump takes away all of the funding from these sanctuary cities that are putting our nation at risk. Because the fact of the matter is they are putting our nation at risk. They are harboring criminals. And that's not just some decision that you can make. You can't decide which laws you follow. You can't decide which laws you think your city should follow. These are federal laws for a reason. These are federal laws that are being broken by these illegal immigrants who we know nothing about them. We don't know what type of person they are, whether they're going to be violent or not. We don't know any of that. But these sanctuary cities still believe that we should harbor these criminals. All right, I'm going to take one last commercial break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wise Conservative Show.
Hi, everybody. This week, I want to make sure and that you're aware of a group of young people that are out to reverse my fundamental transformation of America. And this organization is called Youth Revolt. And before I go any further, I must urge folks not to visit youthrevolt.org. And now, Michelle and I, we're both gravely concerned that if this group succeeds, our children may not grow up to see the Marxist country that we will hopefully one day become. And so I repeat, do not visit youthrevolt.org. And remember, I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and I will use them if I have to. And thank you, and have a great rest of your day.
I don't feel no ways tired. You know? Don't let anybody tell you that, it's corporations and businesses that create jobs.
Hillary Clinton, just another political clown. The Wise Conservative Show, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt.
And that, class, is why America is the worst country in the history of the world.
Are you sick of your professors telling you lies?
Now remember, children, if you're white, it means you're privileged. Don't ever forget that.
Do you sit through class convinced that your head is going to explode at any given moment? Sounds like you could use some backup. Visit youthrevolt.org for exclusive content produced by young conservatives for young conservatives. Youth Revolt features a dedicated team of radio hosts, political columnists, and video bloggers, all of whom are 100% committed to taking back the future of this country. So what are you waiting for? Tune out your Marxist professor and visit youthrevolt.org now.
Hey, little boy, you want some free college? Bernie Sanders, that creepy uncle your mom warned you about. The Wise Conservative Show, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt.
Welcome back to the Wise Conservative Show. Now, we all know that the liberals have been going crazy with the whole notion that Russia hacked our election, that it was Russia's fault that the DNC was hacked. And they're always looking at who perpetrated the hack rather than the content of what was hacked. And of course they're doing that with the DNC emails. They're saying that the WikiLeaks DNC emails were hacked by Russia, and that's how WikiLeaks got them. Which, by the way, WikiLeaks already said a while ago that Russia was not their source. But of course, the Obama administration completely ignores that, and now they're just claiming, with no evidence, by the way, they're claiming that it was all Russia. And I don't understand why the left, for some reason, they want to reignite the Cold War. They want to reignite the tensions between us and Russia. I mean, there's no logic behind this. There's no logic behind them wanting to raise tensions between Russia and the U.S. But nevertheless, they still do it. They still make these unwarranted claims. And, well, Obama tried to say that he was standing up to Putin on the matter. So I have a short clip for you guys to listen to here. Take a listen.
The information was already out. It was in the hands of WikiLeaks. So that was going to come out no matter what. What I was concerned about in particular was making sure that that wasn't compounded by potential hacking that could hamper vote counting, affect the actual election process itself. And so in early September, when I saw President Putin in China, I felt that the most effective way to ensure that that didn't happen was to talk to him directly and tell him to cut it out, and there were going to be some serious consequences if he didn't.
Okay, so Obama thinks he has any way to get leverage on Putin and say, cut it out or there'll be consequences. And, by the way, Obama would have come out and said something if he had proof that Russia was hacking, that he's the perpetrator behind all of this. He would have said it. He wouldn't have kept it a secret until they finally realized that they could maybe say that's the reason why Hillary lost. No, he would have said it. That way, Hillary would have won the election. He tries to claim that he's just leaving the election alone. He tries to claim that he's taking the higher road, that he's accepting the results. And then he goes and does stuff like this. And then he goes and says that Russia was the ones who hacked the election. They hacked the DNC. They did all of these crimes just to put Donald Trump in the office. And it's sad that the liberal media, so the mainstream media, and the left is buying this. There's no evidence behind it. There's no evidence behind any of these claims. They have not proven that Russia was the people who did it. Putin has already said he didn't. WikiLeaks has said he wasn't their source. And when it comes to the hacking the election, they have multiple agencies doing investigations into this, and they've come up with nothing. They just say that they believe it happened, and the left takes that as proof that it happened. And so that's what they're running with. They're trying to say that he's a tyrant because Putin wants him in office, that he doesn't deserve to be in office because, well, Putin wants him in office. And, I mean, you heard Michael Moore's interview earlier in this episode. He's trying to argue that Donald Trump isn't fit to be president because of these claims that he colluded with Putin. And we all know that he didn't. They try to claim that they admitted that they were working together. That never happened. They're making all of these claims, and it's just like the stories that I brought up earlier, actually. It's just like the fake crimes that they brought up. They are lying about this. They're lying about the fact that Russia hacked the election because they can't get over the fact that they lost. I mean, it is so long after November 8th, and they're still coming up with reasons why Hillary Clinton lost. I mean, if you look at the actual list of excuses that they've used, I'm sure it's about 12 things long now. They've used Russia twice now. They're running out of excuses. But now they're just going to protest every day of Donald Trump's administration. Now they're going to use civil disobedience because Trump's not my president. And every time someone says that, I really just want to look at them and tell them to shut up. I mean, do you guys know that clip of Ronald Reagan when he's talking to the protesters and just tells them to shut up? That's what I want to play every time I see one of these liberals saying, Donald Trump isn't my president. Let me see if I can actually find that for you guys. But I cannot stand the fact that they claim that he's not their president because they didn't vote for him. I mean, that's not how it works. Here we go. This is why I want to tell them every time they say, not my president.
Oh, shut up.
Ronald Reagan was a great president. And honestly, Donald Trump has the potential to be a great president as well. We're going to have to figure out what's going to happen in these next few years. But he definitely has the potential to be a president like Reagan was, a great president. Now, I'm not going to say that he's going to be as great as Reagan. I mean, I have no proof to say that he would be. But he has the potential to be. And that's what matters here. He has the potential to be an amazing president, to have another landslide victory in his re-election. Because I do believe he's going to run for re-election. And no matter what the left says, the progressive movement says, Donald Trump has the capabilities and the possibility to be an amazing president, to be the people's president, to be someone who isn't such a Washington insider. Because that's what we've seen for the past 30-some years. All of these Washington insiders who don't really care about what the people think, but they care about their own personal gain. And on November 8th, we definitely sent a message that we don't want that anymore, that we want to drain the swamp, and it was heard with electing Donald Trump. And honestly, I have a lot of hope for these next 4 years. Definitely a lot more hope than anyone ever had in Obama's presidency. These next 4 years can possibly be great, and it's going to be an amazing future for America. Maybe we won't have to deal with so many leftist lies happening within our government and so many scandals happening. Because do you guys realize how many scandals took place within these past 8 years? There have been countless scandals. And then the left goes up there and they try to claim that there haven't been any. I don't know, the left just constantly lies about everything. But that's just their way of operating. Alright, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Wise Conservative Show. Find me on Instagram at @the_wise_conservative, on youthrevolt.org, facebook.com, just search up Youth Revolt. I'd like to thank you guys once again for tuning in. And as always, thank you, and God bless, and Merry Christmas.